this is a song called Adam Leigh Boonden, early modern English Christmas carol, and the Victorians got hold of it and did what the Victorians do to things, what they do to churches and what they do to tunes, took all the knackers out of it. It probably got several tunes, but this is the one I know. It's an old tune. You can hear why it's pentatonics. For you there, and yeah, that's Middle English. Well, sort of, yeah, late Middle English probably. But it's pretty easy to understand if you read that sort of thing, which I do sometimes. Right. Well, this was coming up to Christmas. Now, the background to this story was that my the young woman who I'd been living with, and I think it was the first young woman I had lived with. So we're both in our early 20s, which is a very volatile time, and she'd decided some weeks earlier to leave me. Probably because, well, you know, because I'm me. And at that point, well, I freely admit that I'm a bit special needs, but I never thought I was that bad, but there were misunderstandings, as you may imagine. Anyway, I was just thinking, well, that's me alone for Christmas. So I was trying to make the best of it, tidied the place up, got a few Christmas deckies up. And Ian Peppercorn, my bandmate at the time in Jip, came round with our German friends who we'd tour there. They'd help us organise the tours and things. Now, the German guy said, look, we've got this, I said, whatever happened to so-and-so? I can't remember the name of the girl, and I won't mention her anyway. Let's just call her Mitzi. But Mitzi, who was a teenager, had drunk rather too much beer in the wagon on the way over and was drunk. And she wasn't sort of falling around drunk, but she was kind of sleepy. So he said, well, we need to go Christmas shopping in Colchester. I mean, to the Germans in 1978, Christmas shopping in Colchester would have been academically interesting anyway. So they all went off shopping. Is it all right if we leave this girl here? I said, yeah. So, so we bunged her in the bedroom and just covered her over with some earth. No, with a sorry, what am I talking about? With an eiderdown or whatever was there. It's a nice bedroom, and I hardly slept in it. So, in the interim, just as it was getting darker, my girlfriend, who I hadn't seen for weeks and weeks and weeks, arrived with her 2 bags, and just said, "I've come home, darling." I was possibly a trifle stoned. I'd just got the deckies up, and I was maybe, minnying around in the kitchen, cleaning things, and I was just so pleased to see her. I thought I would cry, and she said, "You don't look like you've been eating properly." There's a small sausage behind my ear and all sort of brown scrambled egg in my hair. But anyway, so she said, "You look thinner. Shall I make you an omelette?" She made really great omelettes, so she started making this omelette. And we were talking about this, and I suddenly remembered this, teenage German girl was asleep in the bedroom, and I said, "Oh, you need to know this, by the way. Ian Peppercorn, came over with the Germans, and they had a girl with them who Mitzi. She was a bit drunk, so they asked if they could leave her here, And so I said, yeah, just put her in the bedroom. She'll be all right. She was just sleepy kind of thing. And she says, sorry, kind of read me that back again. There's a German girl, a teenage German girl. Where is she? And I said, well, in the bedroom. She said, where in the bedroom? And I said, well, on the bed. She said, on our bed. Like it was still our bed, even though I hadn't seen her for weeks. I said, well, like I toyed with putting her in the wardrobe or maybe propping her jauntily up against the windowsill or something, But I said, no, I just put her on the bed, They'll come and pick her up. But before I could get there, they'll come and pick her up in a few minutes because they've been gone about an hour. When an omelette is thrown attached to a plate, say of a heavy catering white variety, due to the nature of the physics of it, the plate and omelette will part company shortly after they've been thrown. Whereas the plate, which if you dodge it, will shatter against a door jamb, probably, into several pieces, the omelette will carry on travelling and fragmenting as it goes. So some of it goes over your, stage shirt, and a lot of it goes on the floor, and that's when the cats get interested. And then and after what I felt was an unjustifiably harsh exchange of words, I was now watching in the encroaching darkness out of the kitchen window, and I was rather disturbed and upset by it, her walking back out, down the road she'd come up, without even opening the bag she placed on the living room floor. And I thought, well, that went well. Anyway, I got the plate cleaned up, and the cats, the two cats got all my omelette and everything like that while I was cleaning the plate up, and the cats finished the omelette and I finished cleaning up the kitchen. And I thought, well, I'm just going to make myself a little one skinner here, and I poured myself an early glass of port because I've about had enough today, and it was getting near tea time. I was just thinking, bloody hell. And then there was a ding dong at the doorbell, and it was Ian Peppercorn and the Germans, and they came in like, hey, we've had a really good time, blah blah. Is Mitzi all right? I said, oh, I haven't seen her, I think she's still asleep. And they woke her up and got her into the camper van, and then they all said Merry Christmas, Martin, and left me a card and went off. And then there was complete silence, just me, the cat stuffed with omelette, and and a glass of port, and silence. So I put David Bowie's Low on, and I said to myself, Merry Christmas, Yoko, and war is over. And then what I've learned from this is never assume that a woman is going to have any sense of fairness or justice or finish listening to what you've got to say in a court of her making, where she is the judge, jury and prosecuting attorney. And secondly, that's about it really, just don't and stay safe for Christmas, and may all your Christmases be white or sometimes vaguely yellow with a few bits of parsley in it. That's my Christmas story, that is.
This is called The Dark Days Down to Christmas. So it's kind of a greatest hits package, if you can have a look later. The dark days down to Christmas pour like horses at an earthen floor when all the ghosts of autumn pass away. Thank you, sack the juggler. And ragged squads of starlings fight in firethorn trees in fading light for orange berries brighter than the day. The dark days down to Christmas slip as convicts from a prison ship, down moonlit ropes and hawsers one by one, and past a quayside through the lanes with winter dragging on their chains, peer into windows envious of the sun. The dark days down to Christmas creep as wolves around a pen of sheep when people turn their collars up and sigh. A convalescent crescent moon comes drifting out mid-afternoon to bid an old arthritic year goodbye. And down the day drain these dark days spin as kindling wood and paraffin and sacks of cold logs are fed into a spider-haunted shed. The garden tools with cobweb tines and skeins of string on withered vines are vestiges left hanging on, and evidence of summer gone. The dark days down to Christmas call in echoes to a flagstoned hall. Too early for the feast, they stay a while, but each, an uninvited guest, is dirty, cold and underdressed and slips away unmissed in single file. The dark days down to Christmas wait like cinders cricking in a grate before the fire is raked, reset and lit, and cheerless in their unmade bed, glow only very faintly red, but give no hint of heat in spite of it. And yet, with each dark day complete, lighter and brighter grows the street, as frantic in the pubs and shops the work speeds up, for soon it stops. And in a lull between the two, the last day, having much to do, though up till now no time for thought, allows a warming glass of port. And having set an hour free before the lights go on for tea, as ingots of old sunlight pierce the gloom, a ghost parade of days appears, with paler days from other years, who reminisce in whispers round the room. The last day down to Christmas ends, excusing all his sullen friends who slave until December 23rd. Cut mistletoe, deliver parcels, like the cottages, like castles, scribble cards and hardly say a word. Then, having done their tasks, they drift as workers from a graveyard shift, the moment that each day has lost its light, till wistfully the last one goes, ignites a candle, leaves a rose, and slips out softly to the frosty night.
This was called White Hart because white hart's quite rare, but you'll see them at this time of year. But they're generally regarded as very magical, especially from the Saxons onwards. In the bent and broken let's start that again. In the bent and broken grasses where the frost has starched the trees, something white and spectral passes through December days like these, with the sun all rouged and lazy, as an actor drunk on stage hardly deigns to make the daylight, now the old year turns the page. White hart captured in a clearing, watchful in the forest fern, with the winter solstice nearing, searching for the sons of Herne. For that moment nothing's stirring in a birdless, silent sky, just a breathless camera whirring while the creature passes by, vanishing beyond the trees in December days like these. Different versions of that. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. In a year, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year, all our troubles will be miles away. For here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who were dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the
Oh, hello, and how are you? What is it you say you do? Writer and musician too. Well done you. Both our boys were keen on pop. One of them was in a band, so I know it's very hard. He was at the Juilliard, and he helped arrange some strings for a quite good friend of Sting's. Now he's doing jazz and blues. Have you ever played a cruise? Not the type of thing you do. Still, well done you. Oh, you have a record out. Anything I might have heard, and you made it by yourself. Oh, you play as well as sing. Oh, you are a clever thing. But you say it's not quite pop. Amazon will stock it too, and I will buy it in a shop. Oh, well done you. Well done you. Well done you. Our sister's lawyer's cousin's friend went on holiday last year, skiing in Vermont or near. She telephoned us quite amazed. Someone there had heard of you. It was absolutely true. Well done you. Now, how's your little book been doing, and how's your little record done? We're aware you worked quite hard. Still, I bet it's been such fun. Years ago, when you were young, trying to get on that first run, many said you never would, though there were still one or two who believed. I always knew that you'd make it. Well done you. And how's your little mortgage going? 40 grand goes nowhere now, but you've scraped it up somehow, and you've got your working space. So important, don't you think? Somewhere for your pens and ink. We were mentioning you, in fact, round at dinner Wednesday night. Christine said, despite it all, that underneath you were quite bright. And you stuck at what you do. Well done you. Everyone invited there all remarked how well you'd done with your television piece, though I never saw that one. Big fish in a little pond, someone at the table said. Even though it might be true, well done you, well done you. And well done you, and well done you for keeping going all these years. You deserve success, you do. And how do you think of your ideas? And why is it you, and why not me? I at least got my degree. I could write like you, I bet, though I've not quite started yet. But your records are a din. I was trained at violin. I should know about such things. Still, good luck in all you do. Well done you, well done you, well done you, well done you.
I haven't done this one live for ages. It's called Watching the Rich and Famous Get Married. Oh, I've rarely dawdled, and I've hardly tarried, watching the rich and the famous get married. Fill up the mags and the media they may. I'll yawn or I scratch as I ask, who are they? Some dirt farmer's daughter made good in her way, who married a polo-playing, braying hooray of dubious taste and more dubious passions, by any chalk a complete waste of rations. Or once in a while I may notice some Tara, Clementine, Zana or bird in tiara, hoping to enter the Hollywood sector, draped on the arm of some ageing director. Having been Williamed, or likelier harried, I'm watching the richer and famous get married. The bovine and equine of idle renown will frequently breakfast in monogrammed gown, yet fall from the ugly tree, clutching their crown, and hit every branch on the short journey down. The bimbos and himbos in pop music heaven, front door in Dorset, back door in Devon, with recent divorces, are ripe to resplice. Experienced partners, just not very nice. With baggage so heavy it cannot be carried, I'm watching the rich and the famous get married. Past mistakes buried, or better still, dead. I'm watching the rich and the famous get wed. In various circulars and magazines, walking in vestibules once known to queens, I come upon wardrobes which still house the jeans, play-clothes of those of superior means, the vacuous, drug-damaged spawn of some lord. Yet do I feel angry? No, I'm just bored. All reasonable offers, unreasonable too, thick as a brick in the wall of Who's Who. The first thing they'll ask is, and what do you do? Somebody famous? I haven't a clue. Strumpet or swordsman? No thrust unparried. I'm watching the rich and the famous get married. Bit caustic, isn't it? You get that Eastern European feel, the piano. He does a mixture of jazz and Eastern European. Broken bicycles. Joey Kowalski ran a newsagent, sold Embassy Regal, mint humbugs, big plastic jars, copies of The People's Friend, TV Quick, Bella, Best, one-handed men's magazines on the top shelf. His wife was a piece of trash from tendering, took Prozac, burned a toast on Friday, drank Synatogen for a hobby, and cleaned her teeth with a trowel. One day, Charlie O'Donnell came in for some Rizzlers, complained about the distributor valve on his Potterson combi boiler, then set fire to Mrs. Kowalski's poodle. Joey started drinking after that. Shoved a plastic Christmas tree up his ass, then ran off with a pregnant hooker who just got out of the joint. Never could stand mint humbugs.
After western gales have done, heaved the grey autumnal seas, weakened an anaemic sun, anaesthetised the bees, drained the sap from all the trees, substituted gold for greens, covered summer's murder scenes with a distant roll of drums. Winter comes, the winter comes, like a surgeon to his rounds, down a chilly corridor. Taciturn, he beats the bounds, squeaky shoes upon the floor, murmuring behind each scream, while the patient pale in bed strains to overhear what's said. Firmly then, but without fuss, winter enters thus. When the sleet is clean at dawn, and at first the frost seems light, steaming off each sunlit lawn like a mistress taking flight from a chamber not yet hers. Now the night draws in so early, and the northeast wind is surly, and the mask begins to slip. Winter cracks its whip. Down the ginnels, winter slips, into country towns it knows. Paper boys blow fingertips, stood on doorsteps, freezing toes, kicking empty bottles over, setting yappy terriers off. Then the cancerous buses cough, and it rains in panel pins. So a winter day begins. Under downlands to the south, where the chalk hill horses sleep, trains speed from a tunnel mouth, scattering crows and shaking sheep on the windy downs. The dew ponds high above the Pilgrim's Way keep their icy glaze all day. Neolithic farmers knew them, winters wading through them, whistling near a lonely bandstand, starching leaf mould in the park, greeting in an empty grandstand spectral sportsmen in the dark. But the boating pond is frozen and the punts are put away for some far-off summer day. In the brown and broken nettles, winter settles, winter settles.
Well, welcome to Ted's Christmas Kitchen. I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen because I'm usually out on the land, either killing something or digging something up. There's a lot of things that need clearing up around here. But you've already missed the main course, which I'm doing. So I've got a lady coming round, Mrs. Ivy Truscott, recently widowed, and I fancy me chances with her. So I'm hoping to reach her heart with some culinary treats. So what I've got this year is it's a real romantic heart winner. This one, chicken nuggets and a baby sham sauce, followed by North Sea pie, and after that I should imagine, you know, we'll give her a couple of old brandy liqueurs and that should get the wheels of romance nicely oiled. Yeah, but I think what we need to do here is remember the key to a lady's heart is in the pudding. Now, I got something here and I was talking to Monty Thorogood about this. He said, well, ladies, they do like the old, either tinned pineapples, in this case I've got pineapples, South African cling peaches, they always go down really well. And he did pose me a very pertinent question about that. In their own juice, Ted? He said I should know. In a light syrup. That's how the ladies like it, you see. So, what I've got here, but for the real pièce de resistor, is you can't beat a bit of tin of evaporated milk. When I was courting and sparking, I used to leave a tin of evaporated milk outside a young lady's door to demonstrate my expression of intent toward her. Also, well, you've got to be careful with the old Brussels sprouts. The sprout is your enemy, but you've got to have them, you see. So put them on about a week before. Sling an old depth charge in there, blast them up, you know, in the pressure cooker. The pressure cooker's got up, I've washed them all up now. Also, to show her that I'm home in a domestic environment, I've got this very nice saucepan. I believe that's from the late 70s, late 60s probably, I should imagine. We'll have to ask the antiques expert about that. The old sprouts. Be careful with them, don't feed it too many or you'll both be lifting the blankets during the night. I mean, you combine them with artichokes, that'll turn even the highest tall duvet into a hovercraft if you're not careful by about the small hours, and you don't want it if you're hoping for romance, do you? Christ no. So I reckon from this year's Ted's Christmas Kitchen, that's about it. So mind how you go, don't go making any ladies pregnant, and I'll see you next year. Yep.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules. So do I. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Because I'm all about the bass. About the bass, no treble.
Yeah, and so I'm waiting here in my very small English cottage bedroom, having been trying to do a deal with British television for the German show that's so successful, which was, how if you would say it in English German, it would be the große Gewinnschlüssel. The große Gewinnschlüssel is the easiest I can say it. It means literally the big win key. And the big win key was a very, very popular show in all the German-speaking languages. It means, you know, the key where you win, you have to answer a few questions, and then the person who's got the biggest Schlüssel has the winning key. This is the big win. The big win is a kind of big golden key, and we call it the big win key in your language. So, you know, I found no one in England was strangely not interested in having a big win key, and we found this incomprehensible. But then we always have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the English, but this was very popular. I'm completely fallen crest, as you say. So I go back to say to my overlords, is that what you say? So they don't want a big winky. So I try another pitch, which is perhaps we could call it like you had the golden shit, was it? We had this game and we call it the golden winky. Yeah, and ein Schlüssel aus Gold. No good. You can't have a golden winky. So I don't know what to do, and perhaps I go back to being in my boy band, which was a two-piece. We had a hit, you know, back in the 80s or so, called it was called Jetzt wir haben Automaten. Now we have machines. Jetzt wir haben Automaten. Yep. And this was a number 18 in a sub-district of Austria. And we were called Arts and Crafts, and I was kind of arts, and my friend, it was a kind of joke. He was kind of crafts. But, again, no interest in England, so no big winky for you. Ende, das ist Ende. Ja.